to this lecture on ancient Greek philosophy. Tonight, we will embark on a journey back in time to when the thinkers of the Mediterranean were laying the foundations of Western philosophy. Imagine yourself in ancient Athens, strolling through the agora, the heart of public life, where citizens gather to discuss politics, philosophy, and the nature of existence. Close your eyes and envision the bustling streets filled with merchants, craftsmen, and scholars. Feel the warm sun on your skin and the gentle breeze carrying the scent of olive oil and freshly baked bread. You are about to meet some of the most influential minds of antiquity, whose ideas continue to shape our understanding of the world. Our story begins with Thales of Miletus, who lived around 624 BCE. Imagine Thales walking along the rocky coast of the Aegean Sea, where waves crash against the shore. He observes how water is essential for all life, how it changes its form from liquid to vapor and ice, and how it is present everywhere. For Thales, water seems to be the fundamental substance underlying all existence. Picture him sitting by the sea, deep in thought, and then proclaiming his revolutionary idea. Everything is made of water. This marked a significant shift from mythological explanations to natural ones, laying the groundwork for future scientific inquiry. Our journey continues with Anaximander, a student of Thales who lived around 610 BCE. A group of curious students gathers around a man deeply immersed in thought, drawing on a wax tablet in the shade of an olive tree. This man is Anaximander, one of the pioneering thinkers of his time. Anaximander was fascinated by the natural world and its mysteries. Unlike his mentor Thales, who believed water was the fundamental substance of the universe, Anaximander proposed a more abstract and revolutionary concept. He introduced the idea of the apeiron, an infinite and boundless principle that underlies all existence. He begins by describing the limitations of known elements: water, air, earth, and fire. Each of these elements, he argues, has a beginning and an end. They are finite and subject to change and decay. However, the apeiron, Anaximander asserts, is different. It is eternal and indestructible, an infinite source from which everything in the universe arises and to which everything ultimately returns. The apeiron is not something that can be seen or touched. It is a concept that transcends the physical world, existing beyond human experience. Anaximander's idea of the apeiron challenges traditional understandings of the cosmos. He explains that the apeiron generates opposites: hot and cold, wet and dry, which in turn create the diverse phenomena we observe in the world. Imagine Anaximander using a simple demonstration, such as mixing hot and cold water, to show how the apeiron produces these fundamental opposites and their interactions. The apeiron is also the source of motion and change. Anaximander theorizes that it is in a constant state of flux, continuously generating new worlds while old ones dissolve back into it. Picture him pointing to the stars in the night sky, explaining that even celestial bodies are part of this eternal cycle of birth, growth, decay, and renewal. This idea idea of a constantly changing universe was revolutionary, rejecting the notion of a static and unchanging cosmos. Anaximander's concept of the apeiron also introduces a moral dimension to the universe. He suggests that there is a cosmic justice in which elements repay one another for their injustices. For example, when fire consumes a tree, it must eventually give way to water, which extinguishes it. This balance of forces maintains the harmony of the cosmos. In this way, the apeiron acts as the ultimate arbiter of cosmic justice. His thoughts are not merely abstract reflections. They are deeply connected to the surrounding world, inspiring his listeners to see the universe in a new light. Through Anaximander's teachings, we encounter a world that is infinite, dynamic, and interconnected. His concept of the apeiron lays the foundation for future philosophical inquiry, influencing later thinkers who would continue exploring the nature of existence and the fundamental principles of the cosmos. As we leave Anaximander's courtyard, we carry with us a sense of wonder and a deeper understanding of the boundless mysteries of the universe. Continuing our journey through ancient Greece, we encounter Anaximenes of Miletus, a student of Anaximander, who lived around 580 BCE. Imagine walking through the bustling streets of Miletus, the bright sun shining overhead, and the air filled with the scent of herbs and spices. In a quiet, grassy clearing on the outskirts of the city, a small group of students gathers around a philosopher, deeply absorbed in thought as he gazes at the sky. This philosopher, Anaximenes, and his profound insights into the nature of the universe will forever change our understanding of the world. Like his predecessors, Anaximenes sought to identify the fundamental substance from which all things are made. However, while Thales considered this substance to be water, and Anaximander proposed the abstract apeiron, Anaximenes looked upward and found his answer in air. Imagine Anaximenes lying on soft grass, watching clouds slowly drift across the sky, feeling a gentle breeze on his face. He begins to formulate his revolutionary theory. Air, abundant and omnipresent, is the primary element from which everything else arises. Anaximenes' theory is elegant and practical. He observes that air is essential for life, as it is breathed by humans and animals alike. He also notes that air can change its forms, becoming hot or cold, moist or dry. Imagine Anaximenes conducting simple experiments, such as breathing on his hand to feel warmth, or blowing on a flame to see how it reacts. These everyday observations lead him to conclude that air, through processes of condensation and rarefaction, transforms into all other elements. Visualize Anaximenes explaining his theory to his students. Using vivid, understandable examples, he describes how air, when condensed, becomes wind, and with further condensation transforms into water. As water continues to condense, it becomes earth and then stones. Conversely, when air is rarefied, it transforms into fire. Picture him drawing diagrams in the dirt with a stick, illustrating these transformations and captivating his audience with the simplicity and logic of his ideas. Anaximenes also believes that air is not only the substance of physical matter, but also the breath of life, the soul. asserts that just as air sustains the human body, it sustains the universe. This idea gives his philosophy a sense of interconnectedness between the microcosm, the individual, and the macrocosm, the universe. Imagine him standing before his students, arms outstretched to encompass the vast sky and the land below, conveying the unity of all things through the medium of air. One evening, under a sky dotted with twinkling stars, Anaximander discusses the nature of celestial bodies. He proposes that the stars, sun, and moon consist of rarefied air which has ignited, providing light and warmth to this earth. He explains that the heavens are not separate from the earth, but are part of one continuous process of transformation driven by air. This idea challenges the traditional view of the cosmos as a fixed and unchanging realm, presenting it instead as a dynamic, living system. The teachings of Anaximander inspire his students to see the world with new eyes. His concept of air as the fundamental substance brings unity and simplicity to the complexities of nature. It encourages them to observe the world around them, to feel the air they breathe, and to recognize the profound connection between all forms of matter. As we leave Anaximenes' gathering, we carry with us a renewed awareness of air, something we often take for granted. Through his eyes, we see that air is not just an invisible, intangible substance, but a vital force that shapes and sustains the universe. Our journey through ancient Greek philosophy now takes us to the island of Samos, around 570 BCE, where we encounter Pythagoras, a figure shrouded in mystery and legend. Imagine yourself in a peaceful coastal village where the gentle sound of waves caresses the shore. The village is abuzz with rumors of a wise man who has traveled through Egypt and Babylon, gathering knowledge and now teaching a unique blend of philosophy, mathematics, and mysticism. This man is Pythagoras, and his ideas will resonate through the ages. Pythagoras is not just a philosopher. He is the leader of a closely knit community known as the Pythagoreans. Picture a group of devoted followers dressed in simple robes, gathering in a modest yet serene sanctuary, the air filled with the scent of burning incense and the soft hum of contemplative chants. The Pythagoreans believe in a way of life that emphasizes purity, self-discipline, and the pursuit of knowledge. They live according to strict rules, including a vegetarian diet, communal living, and deep reverence for the harmony of the universe. At the heart of Pythagoras' philosophy lies the belief that numbers are the fundamental essence of all things. Imagine Pythagoras standing before a blackboard, chalk in hand, demonstrating how numbers and their relationships form the underlying structure of the cosmos. He introduces his students to the concept of numerical ratios, which explain the harmonious proportions found in nature, music, and the heavens. Picture the amazement on his followers' faces as he shows how the intervals of a musical scale correspond to simple numerical ratios, revealing the hidden order and beauty of the world. Pythagoras and his followers also delve into the mystical properties of numbers. They see numbers as symbols with profound spiritual meaning. For example, the number 1 represents unity and the beginning of all things, while 2 symbolizes duality and balance. The number 3 is considered perfect, representing harmony and the synthesis of opposites. Imagine a Pythagorean ritual where followers gather around a triangular altar, meditating on the meaning of the number 3 and its embodiment in the triangular form. One of Pythagoras' most famous contributions is the Pythagorean theorem, which states that in a right-angled triangle, the square of the hypotenuse equals the sum of the squares of the other 2 sides. Imagine Pythagoras demonstrating this theorem to his students, using a sand table to draw precise geometric figures, showing how this mathematical principle applies not only to triangles, but to the very fabric of the universe. Beyond mathematics, Pythagoras and his followers were deeply interested in the nature of the soul and its journey through cycles of reincarnation. They believed that the soul is immortal and undergoes a series of rebirths, striving for purification and ultimate union with the divine. Picture Pythagoras sitting with his followers around a crackling fire, telling stories of past lives and the lessons learned from each incarnation. This belief in the transmigration of the soul led the Pythagoreans to live virtuously, seeking to free themselves from the cycle of rebirth and attain spiritual enlightenment. The Pythagorean community was also known for its secrecy and esoteric teachings. They formed an exclusive society with initiation rites and strict codes of conduct. Imagine the excitement and reverence of a novice preparing for initiation, studying sacred symbols and chants, and finally being admitted into the inner circle, where deeper mysteries are revealed. Through Pythagoras' teachings, his followers began to see the universe as a harmonious and interconnected whole, governed by the principles of mathematics and the divine order of numbers. They were inspired to seek knowledge, live ethically, and strive for spiritual purity, believing that through understanding the cosmos, they could attain a higher state of being. As we leave the Pythagorean sanctuary, we carry with us a sense of wonder and reverence for the intricate harmony of the universe. Pythagoras' legacy endures, reminding us that the pursuit of knowledge and the quest for spiritual enlightenment are intertwined, guiding us toward a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Our exploration of ancient Greek philosophy now brings us to the bustling city of Ephesus around 500 BCE, where we encounter Heraclitus, the weeping philosopher whose ideas are as enigmatic as they are profound. Imagine yourself wandering through the lively streets of Ephesus, filled with the aroma of spices and the chatter of merchants. Amid the grandeur of the city, in a quiet corner of a temple shaded by cypress trees, sits a solitary figure, deeply absorbed in thought. This man is Heraclitus, known to his contemporaries as the weeping philosopher because of his melancholic nature and reflection on the impermanence and unpredictability of life. Heraclitus is a philosopher who sees the world through the lens of constant change and flux. Picture him walking along the banks of the Cayster River, observing the water endlessly flowing by, never remaining the same from one moment to the next. It is here that he formulates his famous doctrine of change, encapsulated in the phrase "pantarei," meaning everything flows. He reflects aloud to his followers, One cannot step into the same river twice, for new waters are always flowing in. Heraclitus believes that change is the fundamental essence of the universe. He perceives reality not as a collection of static objects, but as a dynamic process in which everything is in continuous motion. Imagine Heraclitus sitting with his students in a shaded grove, using the flickering flames of a fire as a metaphor for his philosophy. He explains that just as fire consumes and transforms wood, the universe is continually renewed through cycle of birth, growth, decay, and rebirth. At the core of Heraclitus' thought lies the concept of logos, the fundamental principle of order and reason that governs the constant flux of the cosmos. Imagine him pointing to the stars in the night sky, explaining how the logos ensures that despite apparent chaos, there is a rational structure to the cosmos. The logos is like an invisible thread that weaves the fabric of reality, maintaining balance and harmony within the flow. Heraclitus' philosophy also extends to human experience. He teaches that conflict and opposition are integral aspects of life, driving change and growth. Picture him illustrating this idea with the example of a bow and a lyre, explaining how the tension between the bowstring and its wooden frame, or between the strings of the lyre and its body, creates harmony and balance. He asserts that without conflict, there can be no progress, and without struggle, there can be no development. Heraclitus is also known for his belief in the unity of opposites. He teaches that seemingly contradictory forces are in fact interconnected and interdependent. Imagine him discussing the interaction of day and night, life and death, pleasure and pain, and how these opposites define and give meaning to each other. He emphasizes that understanding this unity is key to realizing the true nature of reality. His followers gathered around him are captivated by his insights. They learn to see the world through Heraclitus' eyes, appreciating the beauty of change and the interconnection of all things. Picture a student contemplating Heraclitus' teachings, watching a butterfly emerge from its chrysalis, marveling at transformation and the endless possibilities of change. Heraclitus' doctrine of change challenges his students, urging them to embrace the impermanence of life and to cultivate wisdom within the ever-shifting nature of existence. He encourages them to seek knowledge and understanding not through rigid dogma or static beliefs, but through a deep awareness of the flowing and transient reality around them. His philosophy is a call to awaken to the present moment and to recognize the logos at the heart of the constant flow of life. As we leave Heraclitus and his followers by the river, we carry with us a profound appreciation for the dynamic and ever-changing world in which we live. Heraclitus' legacy reminds us that change is not to be feared but embraced, and that within the flow of existence lies the true essence of life. In contrast to Heraclitus, we now meet Parmenides of Elea, whose ideas oppose the concept of constant change. Our philosophical journey brings us to the city of Elea in southern Italy around 500 BCE. Here we encounter Parmenides, a philosopher whose views sharply differ from those of Heraclitus. Imagine yourself in a quiet coastal town with olive groves and vineyards stretching to the horizon in the heart of Elea, in a tranquil courtyard surrounded by columns and flowering plants, a group of students gathers around a wise and dignified man. This man is Parmenides, and he is about to challenge everything we think we know about reality. Parmenides believes that change is an illusion, and that true reality is unchanging and eternal. Picture him standing in the courtyard with a steady gaze and calm voice, beginning to explain his revolutionary ideas. He asserts that the senses, which tell us that the world is in a state of constant change, are deceptive. Instead, Parmenides maintains that reason reveals a deeper, unchanging truth. Parmenides introduces his students to the concept of being. He explains that true being is continuous, incorporeal, and eternal. Imagine Parmenides drawing a circle in the sand to illustrate the idea of wholeness and unity. He emphasizes that being is complete and indivisible, like a circle, and cannot be divided or changed. This unchanging reality, he argues, is the only true existence. To further clarify his point, Parmenides presents a logical argument. He asks his students to consider the nature of nothingness or non-being. Picture the students deeply engaged in thought as Parmenides poses a simple yet profound question. Can something come from nothing? He argues that it cannot, because nothing can produce anything. Therefore, if change involves a transition from non-being to being or vice versa, it must be impossible. Being is and cannot not be. Non-being does not exist and cannot exist. Parmenides' logic leads him to conclude that the world of appearances, where change and multiplicity occur, is an illusion. Imagine him walking with his students through the bustling market of Elea, pointing to the variety of sights, sounds, and actions. He explains that what they perceive with their senses, moving people, the exchange of goods, the passage of time, are merely facades. The true essence of reality, he insists, is a single, unchanging, and eternal being. One of Parmenides' most famous works is a poem in which he describes a mystical journey into the realm of truth. Imagine Parmenides reciting verses from his poem to his captivated students, describing how he was accompanied by a goddess who revealed the difference between the way of truth, aletheia, and the way of opinion, didoxa. The goddess teaches that the way of truth is the path of reason, leading to the realization of eternal, unchanging being, while the way of opinion is the path of the senses, deceiving us with the illusion of change and multiplicity. Parmenides' teachings deeply influence his students and future philosophers. They learn to question the reliability of sensory experience and to seek knowledge through rational inquiry. Picture a student inspired by Parmenides' ideas, sitting by the sea, reflecting on the nature of reality, striving to look beyond appearances to grasp eternal truth. Parmenides' philosophy also lays the foundation for subsequent metaphysical discussions. His claim that being is unchanging and indivisible challenges philosophers to reconcile the apparent contradictions between sensory experience and rational thought. Imagine future thinkers such as the Eleatic school crafting paradoxes to defend Parmenides' ideas, expanding the boundaries of philosophical inquiry. As we leave Parmenides and his followers in the peaceful courtyard of Elea, we carry with us a profound sense of wonder and curiosity. Parmenides' legacy endures, reminding us that beneath the surface of the constantly changing world lies a deeper, eternal reality, accessible through reason and intellect. Our journey through ancient Greek philosophy now takes us to the picturesque island of Sicily around 450 BCE. We encounter Empedocles of Acragas. Imagine standing on a cliff overlooking the azure waters of the Mediterranean, feeling the scent of wild herbs and flowers carried by a warm breeze. It is here, amidst the natural beauty of Sicily, that the philosopher, poet, and mystic Empedocles develops his theory of the four elements. Empedocles is a charismatic and multifaceted figure. He teaches that all matter in the universe is composed of four fundamental elements: earth, water, air, and fire. Picture Empedocles in flowing robes, addressing a gathered audience in an open-air amphitheater. With conviction and faith in his theory, he tells the story of the elements. He explains that these elements are the basic building blocks of all existence. Imagine him lifting a handful of earth, letting it flow through his fingers, then pointing to the waves of the sea, the clear blue sky, and the blazing sun. Each element, he tells his audience, has unique properties and characteristics. Earth is solid and stable. Water is fluid and vital. Air is light and necessary. And fire is transformative and energetic. Empedocles' theory goes beyond merely defining these elements. He introduces the concept of two opposing forces, love, as philia, and strife, nekos, which act upon them. Picture Empedocles drawing a circle in the sand and dividing it into four sections, each representing one of the elements. He then uses his hands to demonstrate how love, the force of attraction and unity, brings the elements together to form complex structures, while strife, the force of separation and discord, tears them apart. In Empedocles' world, these forces are in a constant state of flux, creating a dynamic and ever-changing universe. Imagine him using images of a cosmic dance, where the elements act as partners moving in harmony or conflict, guided by the rhythms of love and strife. He captivates his audience with vivid descriptions of how mountains are formed, rivers flow, plants grow, and animals live, all through the interplay of these elemental forces. Empedocles' teachings also extend to the realm of human experience. He teaches that the body and soul are composed of the four elements, and that health and well-being depend on their balance. Imagine him guiding his followers on how to achieve harmony within themselves, using diet, exercise, and meditation to align with nature. He emphasizes that understanding the elements and their interactions can lead to a deeper unity with the universe and a more fulfilling life. Empedocles' ideas were not limited to theoretical speculation. He was also known for his mystical and religious practices. Picture him performing rituals in a sacred grove, invoking the elements and the divine forces that govern them. He claimed to possess magical abilities, such as healing the sick and influencing the weather, attributing these powers to his profound knowledge of the elements. One of Empedocles' most famous works is his poem on nature, in which he outlines his cosmology and the principles of the four elements. Imagine him reciting verses from his poem to an enchanted audience, describing the eternal cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, driven by the interplay of love and strife. His poetic language and vivid metaphors bring his concepts to life, leaving listeners in awe and wonder. As we leave Empedocles and his followers on the sun-drenched shores of Sicily, we carry with us a deep understanding of the elemental forces shaping our world. Empedocles' legacy reminds us that beneath the surface of our everyday experiences lies a profound and intricate web of connections, governed by the eternal dance of the four elements. The story of Empedocles' death is as captivating as his life. According to popular legend, Empedocles, confident in his divine status, decided to prove his immortality by leaping into the active volcano Etna. Picture this dramatic scene. Empedocles, in his flowing robes, stands at the edge of the fiery crater, proclaiming his divine powers before plunging into the molten lava. This act was meant to demonstrate his superiority, yet instead it sealed his fate in a fiery whirlwind of legend. According to the tale, all that was found afterward were his bronze sandals, ejected by the volcano. This story underscores the dramatic and grand personality of Empedocles, a man whose life and death were shrouded in the very mysticism he cultivated through his powerful rhetoric and bold ideas. Through his life and teachings, Empedocles left a legacy as one of the greatest orators and thinkers of ancient Greece, and his mysterious death only added to the legend of a man who sought to understand and unite with the deepest truths of the universe. Our journey through the rich tapestry of ancient Greek philosophy brings us to the Ionian coast, where we encounter Anaxagoras of Clazomenae, a philosopher who introduced a revolutionary concept that forever changed our understanding of the universe: nous, the cosmic mind. Imagine the bustling city of Athens around 450 BCE, where Anaxagoras arrives from his native Asia Minor. Athens is a city brimming with intellectual fervor, where philosophers, poets, and statesmen gather to discuss the nature of reality and the mysteries of existence. Anaxagoras quickly becomes a prominent figure in these circles, known for his profound insights and innovative ideas. Anaxagoras proposed that everything in the universe is composed of infinitely small particles, which he called seeds or homeomeres. Imagine Anaxagoras engaged in a lively discussion on the agora, explaining how these seeds combine in countless ways to form the diverse objects and living beings we see around us. What sets Anaxagoras apart, however, is his introduction of nous, or mind, a principle that governs and organizes these seeds. Nous is not a physical entity. It represents an intellectual and ordering force, a cosmic mind that sets everything in motion and ensures the structured arrangement of the cosmos. Picture Anaxagoras using the analogy of a potter shaping clay to demonstrate how nous organizes the chaotic mass of seeds into the structured and harmonious world we experience. This idea was revolutionary because it suggested that the universe is not the product of chance, but the result of intelligent design. Anaxagoras' nous is pure, eternal, and infinite. It is the subtlest and most powerful of all things, possessing complete knowledge and control over the cosmos. Imagine him describing nous as a kind of divine intellect, shaping the universe like a master carefully planning and executing a masterpiece. This concept of a cosmic mind introduces a level of intention and purpose into the workings of the universe that had not been considered before. According to Anaxagoras, nous initiates a cosmic rotation, a vast whirl that separates and organizes the seeds into the familiar elements of earth, water, air, and fire. Imagine Anaxagoras pointing to the heavens, explaining how nous established the stars, the sun, and the moon in their orbits, and how it governs the cycles of nature, from the changing seasons to the growth of living beings. His ideas also extend to the nature of human intelligence. Anaxagoras believed that the human mind, or soul, is a fragment of this cosmic nous, allowing us to understand and explore the world around us. Picture him engaged in a lively discussion with other philosophers, asserting that our capacity for thought and perception reflects the operation of the universal mind within us. Anaxagoras' theories were not without controversy. His claim that the sun is a fiery rock rather than a deity, and that the moon is made of earth, challenged traditional religious beliefs. Imagine the reaction of the Athenians, some intrigued by his rational explanations, others considering his ideas impious. Despite the criticism, Anaxagoras' influence was profound, especially on his friend and student, the great statesman Pericles, who supported and defended him. The legacy of Anaxagoras and his concept of nous continued to influence subsequent philosophers such as Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. His idea of a rational, ordering principle introduced a new dimension to Greek philosophy, linking physical phenomena with metaphysical inquiry. As we leave Anaxagoras in bustling Athens, we carry with us a deeper understanding of how ancient thinkers sought to unravel the mysteries of existence, striving to uncover the intelligent design underlying the cosmos. Continuing our journey through the rich landscape of ancient Greek philosophy, we arrive in the vibrant and bustling city of Abdera, the birthplace of one of antiquity's most influential thinkers, Democritus. Born around 460 BCE, Democritus is best known for developing the atomic theory, an innovative idea that continues to resonate in modern science. Imagine walking through the streets of Abdera and encountering a man with bright eyes and an unrelenting curiosity about the world around him. This is Democritus, often called the laughing philosopher, because of his joyful character and love of life. He believed that understanding the universe could bring not only knowledge, but also joy and fulfillment. Building on the work of his predecessor Leucippus, Democritus formulated the theory that everything in the universe is made up of tiny, indivisible particles called atoms. Picture Democritus engaged in lively discussion with other philosophers, using simple analogies to explain his ideas. He might compare atoms to tiny, invisible building blocks that make up everything around us, from the stars in the sky to the air we breathe and even our own bodies. According to Democritus, these atoms are eternal, unchanging, and infinite in number. They move through the void, infinite space, combining and recombining in different ways to form all the diverse objects and substances we perceive. Imagine him explaining this process using the analogy of a kaleidoscope, where a few basic shapes create infinite patterns depending on how they are arranged. One of the most striking features of Democritus' atomism is its mechanistic nature. He proposed that all phenomena, including sensory experiences and human emotions, can be explained by the interactions of atoms. Picture him explaining to his colleagues that the sensation of sweetness is caused by smooth, round atoms, while bitterness is caused by sharp, jagged ones. A revolutionary departure from the more mystical explanations of his time. Democritus also studied the nature of the soul, which he believed consists of especially fine, smooth atoms. These atoms of the soul are responsible for thought, sensation, and life itself. When a person dies, he argued, these atoms disperse and merge again with the general atomic pool. This perspective reinforced his belief in the importance of living a virtuous and joyful life, as fear of death or an afterlife was unnecessary. His ideas extended beyond physics and metaphysics. Democritus was deeply interested in ethics. He taught that the highest goal of human life is the attainment of happiness, which he saw as a state of contentment and tranquility. This happiness, or eudaimonia, could be achieved through moderation, wisdom, and understanding the true nature of the world. Imagine him speaking to a group of eager students, emphasizing that knowledge and a virtuous life lead to a full and joyful existence. Despite the revolutionary nature of his theories, Democritus' work was not widely accepted during his lifetime. Prevailing philosophical and religious views were deeply entrenched, and many considered his ideas too radical. Yet the seeds of his thought would later flourish, profoundly influencing the development of modern science and philosophy. Reflecting on the life and legacy of Democritus, we see a thinker whose vision extended far beyond his time. His atomic theory laid the groundwork for our modern understanding of the physical world, demonstrating the power of rational inquiry and the pursuit of knowledge. As we conclude our exploration of the pre-Socratics, we recall the incredible diversity and richness of thought that characterized this early period of Western philosophy. From Sally's search for the fundamental substance of the universe to Democritus' vision of an atomic cosmos, these thinkers grappled with profound questions about the nature of reality, knowledge, and existence. Their inquiries laid the foundations for future philosophical developments, influencing figures such as Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. Moreover, their ideas continue to resonate today, inspiring contemporary scientific and philosophical discourse. The pre-Socratics were not merely philosophers, they were pioneers, boldly venturing into the unknown and expanding the horizons of human understanding. Imagine walking through the bustling streets of ancient Athens. In the air, you hear the cries of merchants, the laughter of playing children, and the murmur of countless conversations. The heart of Athenian public life is alive with activity. Among the crowd, you notice a man who stands out not by appearance, but by his manner. He is an elderly man of stocky build, with a bald head and eyes that seem to look right through you. This is Socrates, one of the most influential philosophers of all time, and he is engaged in what he does best, asking questions. Socrates was born around 470 BCE, during the height of Athens' cultural and political power. His father was a stonemason and his mother a midwife. From his father, Socrates likely inherited the value of diligent work and the importance of craftsmanship. From his mother, he may have learned to assist in the birth of ideas and truths, much like she helped bring new life into the world. Despite his modest origins, Socrates was destined to leave a profound mark on the world of philosophy. Picture Socrates in the Agora, conversing with the citizens of Athens. Unlike the sophists, the professional teachers of his time, Socrates did not charge money for his lessons. Instead, he considered himself a kind of intellectual midwife, helping others give birth to their own ideas. His method was simple, but extraordinarily effective. He asked questions. This approach, now known as the Socratic method, involves a series of questions that lead the respondent to a clearer understanding of their beliefs and assumptions. Through this process, Socrates exposes contradictions and reveals deeper truths. Imagine a typical scene in the Agora. A prominent politician stands surrounded by admirers. Socrates approaches and begins asking questions. At first, the politician is confident, but as Socrates' questions deepen, his confidence begins to waver. Socrates might ask, "What is justice?" The politician gives a standard answer, but Socrates continues to probe with examples, questioning assumptions, and gradually reveals that the politician does not understand the concept as well as he thought. This method can be disconcerting, even humiliating, yet it is enlightening. Socrates' questions earned him the nickname, the gadfly. Just as a gadfly stings a horse into action, Socrates provoked the citizens of Athens to emerge from complacency, forcing them to examine their lives and values more deeply. He believed that such critical self-examination was essential for a virtuous and fulfilling life. An unexamined life is not worth living, he famously declared, emphasizing his belief that true happiness and virtue come through constant questioning and growth. Despite his influence and popularity among many young Athenians, Socrates was not universally loved. His questions often embarrassed and angered the city's powerful figures. They saw him as a threat to traditional values and the established order. Socrates' method of exposing ignorance was not merely an intellectual exercise. It was a direct challenge to the authority and prestige of Athenian leaders. Tensions between Socrates and the leaders of Athens reached a climax in 399 BCE, when he was brought to trial, accused of impiety and corrupting the youth. Imagine the scene in an Athenian court. Socrates stands before a jury of 501 citizens. His accusers, representing conservative elements of Athenian society, claim that Socrates is a dangerous influence, questioning the gods and misleading the youth with his radical ideas. In court, Socrates remains steadfast and unyielding. He uses the occasion not to plead for mercy, but to continue expounding his philosophy. Picture Socrates addressing the jury, calmly and rationally defending his actions. He explains that his philosophical inquiry is a service to the city, a divine mission to encourage moral and intellectual improvement. He argues that he does not corrupt the youth, but inspires them to think critically and seek the truth. Socrates' defense is eloquent, yet it does not convince the majority of the jury. He is found guilty and sentenced to death by drinking a cup of hemlock poison. In his final moments, Socrates remains true to his principles. Imagine the scene in his prison cell, where friends and students gather, pleading with him to escape. Socrates refuses, believing that fleeing would violate his principles and undermine the laws of Athens, which he had always respected. As Socrates drinks the poison, he continues conversing with his friends, discussing the immortality of the soul and the nature of death. His demeanor remains calm and composed, even as the poison takes effect. Picture the room filled with a somber yet respectful silence as Socrates, the gadfly of Athens, takes his final breath. His death stands as a profound testament to his commitment to his beliefs and his unwavering pursuit of truth. The legacy of Socrates lives not through written works, but through the enduring influence of his ideas and the deep impact he had on his students and subsequent generations of philosophers. Plato, his most famous student, continued to write dialogues that captured the essence of Socratic thought and preserved the ideas of his mentor. Aristotle, a student of Plato, further developed these ideas, laying the foundations of Western philosophy. Reflecting on the life and death of Socrates, we see a man who devoted his life to the pursuit of wisdom, willing to challenge conventions and remain true to his principles even in the face of death. His story is a powerful reminder of the importance of critical thinking and the courage to question accepted norms. As we conclude our exploration of Socrates' life, we are left with deep respect for his contributions to philosophy and his enduring legacy. His life and teachings continue to inspire and challenge us, inviting each of us to take up the role of the gadfly in our own lives, to ask questions, reflect, and strive for a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Now, having walked through the life of Socrates, let us delve into his philosophy and teachings, which remain the cornerstone of his lasting legacy. Imagine yourself again, sitting in the open air among a group of attentive listeners as Socrates begins his dialogue. His approach to philosophy was uniquely interactive and dialectical, a method that became known as the Socratic method. This method was not merely a teaching technique, but a profound approach to understanding the world and oneself. Socrates believed that wisdom begins with wonder. His method involved a series of guiding questions designed to stimulate critical thinking and clarify ideas. Imagine Socrates conversing with a young Athenian about the nature of justice. He might begin with a seemingly simple question: what is justice? The respondent might offer an answer, only to discover that Socrates asks follow-up questions that reveal complexities and contradictions in their initial response. This process, often producing more questions than answers, encouraged deep reflection and self-examination. Socrates used this method to challenge assumptions and uncover fundamental beliefs. He believed that through dialogue, people could achieve a clearer and truer understanding of fundamental concepts such as virtue, justice, and the good life. His goal was not to provide answers, but to help others recognize their own ignorance and the limits of their knowledge. This recognition, he believed, was the first step toward true wisdom. Ethical philosophy. At the core of Socrates' teachings was the idea that the pursuit of virtue and the good life is of utmost importance. Unlike the sophists, who claimed that moral truths are relative and that success is the ultimate goal, Socrates believed in objective moral truths. He argued that virtue is the most valuable possession, far more important than wealth, fame, or power. For Socrates, living a virtuous life was synonymous with living a fulfilling and happy life. He frequently emphasized the importance of self-knowledge, famously asserting, "Know thyself." Socrates believed that understanding oneself was necessary for attaining virtue. This meant acknowledging one's ignorance and striving to improve oneself through constant self-examination and philosophical inquiry. For Socrates, an unexamined life was not worth living because it lacked the pursuit of virtue and wisdom. The concept of the soul. Socrates held a deep belief in the immortality of the soul. He regarded the soul as the true essence of a person, more important than the physical body. In his dialogues with students, Socrates often discussed the nature of the soul and its connection to virtue. He believed that the health of the soul depends on living a virtuous life, and that the well-being of the soul is the ultimate aim of human existence. In one of his most famous dialogues, The Apology, Socrates explains to his audience that his role as a philosopher is akin to that of a midwife, helping others give birth to their own understanding of the truth. He claims that his mission is divine, entrusted to him by the gods, to encourage Athenians to care for their souls and strive for virtue. He believed that by fulfilling this mission, he benefits not only individual citizens, but the entire city of Athens. Knowledge and virtue. Socrates is renowned for asserting that knowledge is equivalent to virtue. He argued that if a person truly understands what is right, they will naturally act rightly. Imagine yourself once again sitting on a quiet shore near Athens. A gentle breeze stirs the leaves of the olive trees, and the water reflects the soft light of the sunset. Here, amid the tranquil silence of nature, we meet Plato, the student of Socrates, a philosopher who dedicated his life to the pursuit of truth and harmony. Plato was born around 427 BCE into an aristocratic Athenian family. From an early age, he observed the world, noisy, restless, full of conflict, yet astonishingly beautiful. He saw how people struggled for power, sought wealth, and pursued happiness and meaning. And in this chaos, he met Socrates, whose words, both gentle and sharp like a light rain, penetrated to the very heart. Imagine young Plato sitting on a stone among the crowd, listening intently to every word, each one revealing the depths of the human soul. After Socrates' death, Plato traveled to study sciences, philosophy, and mathematics. He visited Egypt and southern Italy, walking among temples and libraries, absorbing knowledge about the harmony of numbers, stars, and the nature of the world. Each day his mind expanded, like a gentle breeze touching the water and creating soft ripples. Returning to Athens, Plato founded the Academy. Imagine the quiet garden of the Academy, where students sit on marble benches under the shade of plane trees. The air is filled with the scent of herbs and the soft murmur of philosophical conversations. Plato gently guides them through questions of the soul, justice, truth, and virtue. He teaches that behind the material world lies a world of perfect forms, a realm of perfection and harmony. All things we see are but shadows of these eternal forms. Imagine Plato sitting on a stone, gazing at the calm lake. He tells his students, "The world you see is like a reflection in water. To understand it, one must rise higher, step beyond the shadows, and behold the light of truth." He describes the allegory of the cave. People sit in darkness, seeing only shadows, but the philosopher strives to emerge into the light to grasp the true nature of all things. Plato reflects on the just state. Picture him on a quiet evening by the sea, speaking with his students. He talks about rulers who must be wise, laws that must guide toward harmony, and citizens living in accordance with the nature of their souls. In this ideal state, everyone finds their place, seeks knowledge and virtue, and the world breathes with peace and balance. Imagine Plato writing his dialogues. The words of his pen glide softly across the parchment, creating images that come alive in the imagination. Socrates appears again on the pages, asking questions, provoking reflection, inviting self-discovery. Each sentence is like a gentle breeze, soothing the mind, gradually relaxing thoughts, and allowing deep calm to settle. Plato speaks of the soul. Imagine him explaining to his students that the soul is eternal, like a gentle light that never fades. The soul longs for knowledge and truth. When we understand the harmony of the world, when we live virtuously, the soul finds peace. In every breath, in every glance at a reflection in the water, we can feel its soft glow, and as night falls, stars slowly light up the sky. Plato gazes at them, showing his students how the perfect forms are reflected even in the movement of celestial bodies, how the harmony of the cosmos intertwines with the harmony of the soul. The wind whispers of eternity, and the water glimmers quietly, like soft music for a weary mind. Ending the day, Plato invites his students to close their eyes. Imagine the light of the perfect forms. Feel harmony within themselves. Release worries and drift into deep sleep. His words are gentle and rhythmic, like a lullaby. Let the light of truth guide you in your dreams. Let your soul journey through the world of ideas in harmony and peace. And when you awaken, may your mind be clear and your heart calm. And so, under the soft whisper of the wind and the gentle twinkling of the stars, you gradually sink into sleep, carrying with you the world of ideas, the harmony of the soul, and the soft light of Plato's philosophy. Imagine yourself in the warm, sunlit hills of Macedonia around 384 BCE. The air carries the gentle scent of pine and wild flowers, and the soft wind whispers through the grass, as if sharing the secrets of the world. Here, in this peaceful land, we meet Aristotle, a mind full of curiosity, eager to see, to understand, to explore. From a young age, Aristotle noticed the smallest details. Imagine him as a boy, watching the movement of ants, the veins on a leaf, the colors of the sky changing with the day. Each small observation is a spark of wonder. Each small question is a step toward understanding. He sees the world carefully, slowly, patiently. At 17, Aristotle travels to Athens to study at Plato's academy. Picture the shaded groves, the gentle murmur of voices, the soft rustle of leaves above. Students walk slowly, discussing ideas, thinking, reflecting. Aristotle listens, absorbs, and quietly questions. He learns from Plato, but his mind reaches outward toward the living, breathing world. After years of study and travel, Aristotle returns to Macedonia. Imagine him walking beside the young Alexander, teaching softly, explaining patiently. He shows how knowledge grows not only from thinking, but from seeing, from observing, from exploring. He teaches that understanding is gentle, step by step, layer by layer. Later, in Athens, Aristotle founds the Lyceum. Picture the shaded walkways, the calm gardens, students gathering to talk quietly about plants, animals, stars, and the order of life. Aristotle walks among them slowly, thoughtfully, pointing to the trees, to the flowers, to the birds. He explains the four causes, the material, the formal, the efficient, and the final. Slowly, gently, he unfolds the world before them. Each thing has a cause. Each thing has a purpose. Each thing is connected to everything else. Imagine him sitting on the grass as the sun sets, speaking softly about the soul. Plants, animals, humans, all have a soul, he says. Each soul guides life, thought, and action. Each soul seeks harmony. Each soul seeks understanding. To live well, he explains, is to fulfill your purpose, to act with virtue, to be gentle, to be thoughtful, to be patient. As night falls, stars appear above. Aristotle points upward softly. The universe is vast, he says. Humans, nature, and stars are all connected, all part of a gentle, harmonious whole. The wind sighs, the leaves sway, the world feels calm. His words echo softly, and your mind begins to feel light, peaceful, ready for rest. Take a deep breath. Imagine the rhythm of life, the patterns of nature, the quiet order of the world. Slowly, gently, let your mind rest. Slowly, gently, let your soul reflect on the harmony of all things. Slowly, gently, drift into sleep, carrying the calm wisdom of Aristotle. Observation, understanding, purpose, and the quiet joy of living in harmony with the world.